past midnight, and Theo let himself feel almost safe. 2 cracked ribs, half-healed. A new trick no machine on earth could smell. He stood at his apartment window looking down at the ordinary street, ordinary cars, ordinary dark, and turned away from the glass without ever seeing the one car that was watching him back. His ribs were still a quiet ache, and his days still belonged to the guild, hauling packs, eating Voss's jokes, being furniture. The mask cost nothing by daylight. The real spending happens after dark. Voss had a new routine, tossing Theo a coin after every run, payment for the comedy. Theo caught it, thanked him, and pocketed it. He keeps the coins in a jar. Someday the jar will be funny for different reasons. His apartment is for whisper work, pebbles, pillows, palm-sized lights. Real drilling needs noise, distance, thrown bricks. For months, his real gym has been somewhere else. A demolition block the city condemned and forgot. 4 streets of nobody, no cameras. Dead power. A man a quiet pocket where the grid never reaches. He chose it the way he chooses everything. Invisible first, useful second. Inside its broken walls, Rank 0 stops performing weakness and starts paying down his real debts. Getting there is its own discipline. Out the bathroom window, down the fire escape, through 2 alleys, never the same order twice. He built the routine against watchers he imagined. It works perfectly against the watcher he hasn't imagined yet, because across the street, Nadia's stakeout kept producing the same useless data. Light on at 9, light off at 11, nothing. A man this boring on paper had to be spending his interesting hours somewhere her windshield couldn't see. That same week, Hale stamped a city partnership. Guild patrol drones extending gatewatch sweeps into the outer districts. More coverage, more fees, he said. He did not look at the route maps. Nobody ever looks at the route maps. The ledger ruled every midnight. 40 minutes of force. Nudge. 20 of ember. 10 for the barrier. 5 for the healing flicker. Breaker fist footwork at quarter speed. Ribs permitting. Acquisition was free. This is the bill, paid in months. The nudge came first because the nudge keeps him alive. A year ago, it tipped pebbles. Now, rep by rep, night by night, it learned to drag a brick, then slide a fallen beam, silent and clean. Somewhere, in the repetitions, he stopped copying Voss's spell and started reading it. Incantation mages run, a memorized procedure forever. He can see the threads underneath. Tighten one, drop 2. The first mages must have trained exactly like this, alone, in the dark. The double-light collects its own tax. He sleeps in supply closets at lunch. He flinches at drone shadows. He has not had a conversation that wasn't a performance in months. The strongest secret in the guild is also the loneliest. The ember grew next. Once it was a spark that died in wind. Now it sits in his palm, steady as a candle, obedient through a full breath. Control, not size. A flame nobody sees is worth 10 explosions. The barrier got its ration 10 minutes and grew from palm to dinner plate. It still shatters under a thrown brick. He drills it anyway, because someday the difference between saboteur and corpse will be 1 plate of blue light. And the breaker fist, to skill paid in bone, gets footwork only. Heel, hip, shoulder, slow as Tai Chi. No force, no mana, nothing for any sensor to smell. His ribs knit. The blueprint waits in his muscles, learning patience. Then came the night it all obeyed. The nudge slid a steel beam a full meter. The ember held through a windy minute. The barrier caught a brick and did not break. Raw had finally become reliable. Months condensed into 1 quiet minute. He stood in the rubble and let himself feel it just once. Since the awakening hall, 0 has been a word other people say about him. Tonight, for 1 breath, it was simply a lie. His lie. The one he chose. Across town, Nadia watched his window die at 11, exact as a metronome. Real people are not metronomes. She wrote 1 line in the notebook. The boring nights are the performance. Tomorrow, she would stop watching the window and start following the man. And that same midnight, a construction detour rerouted patrol drone 7-3 off its gatewatch loop. The new path cut straight across a condemned demolition block. Nobody planned it. Nobody noticed. The route maps remember that nobody ever looks at. Theo, riding the best night of his year, broke his own first rule. 1 more rep. The biggest ember he had ever shaped bloomed in his hands, lighting the lot like a small orange dawn. Then he heard the rotors. A patrol drone, red running light blinking, drifting over the wall. And in its belly he saw the worst part, the faint woven glow of a mana sniffer, the same instrument that had been orbiting him in the gates, already sampling the air. 3 options, half a second. Hold the spell and be recorded. Smash the drone with the silent fist and bring investigators to bury this place, or kill the ember mid-weave and eat the backlash. Progress or cover. He already knew his answer. He hurled the fire into a rusted trash barrel and strangled the weave behind it. The snapped threads lashed back up his arm like a whip of static. The barrel caught, ordinary and orange. The magic was gone before the sniffer finished inhaling. Then the year's best mage in hiding gave the performance of a vagrant, hood up, shoulders hunched, dirty hands stretched over a trash fire. A heat source explained. A light source explained. A nobody warming himself in a nowhere. The drone hung there for 11 seconds. He counted everyone through the flames, arms still buzzing with backlash, face slack with practiced nothing. Then the red light blinked twice, logged its finding, and droned away into the city. He sat in the dirt and did the cold arithmetic. The drone saw a squatter, but its route now exists, and routes repeat. A training ground that gets visited is not a training ground. The sanctuary died the moment those rotors crossed the wall, so we buried it. Chalk marks scrubbed. Brick targets scattered, the being dragged back where demolition left it. 20 minutes to erase months of midnights, until the lot looked like what it had always pretended to be. Nothing. He walked home the long way, arm aching, throat tight. The progress lives in his body, no drone can confiscate that, but the place that built it is gone. This is the tuition hiding charges. Everything you make, you must be ready to abandon. He came home at 4 in the morning from the wrong direction, dust on his knees, moving like a man with a burned arm. And this time, the parked car across the street was awake to see all of it. By sunrise, Nadia was pulling overnight feeds from his district. One report snagged her filters. Patrol drone 7-3 rerouted. A vagrant at a barrel fire in a condemned lot. Footnote. Low confidence, a momentary thermal bloom far too hot for trash. She laid the map on her screen. The condemned lot, a 15-minute walk from his building. Timestamp, the heart of his dark, boring hours. A vagrant with dust on his knees had walked home at 4. Entry 10 wrote itself. Entry 10. I know where he goes at midnight. She closed the laptop and looked up at his dark window. Her experiment outside the gates finally had an address. And Theo, asleep with a burned arm, had no idea his nothing had been found.